New text message from Lacey at 11:36 a.m. So, on the off chance that you're not a mind reader, my locker number is 257. Sorry I forgot to tell you. Hope you're not too turned around looking for it.
Mind readers don't get lost, Lacey. I knew where it was before you told me.
Is that so? Well then, I won't send you my combination. I wouldn't want to insult your psychic abilities.
I'm not a master yet, but I can tell you it definitely has 4 numbers. How's that for skill?
Impressive.
I know, right?
So, I assume you probably already guessed those mystical numbers were 7127, then.
Obviously. Anything special you want me to get for you?
Just my books in my backpack.
You sure? There's a stack of papers for some volunteering thing on top of your stuff. They look important.
Oh my gosh, I nearly forgot. Can you bring those too?
Absolutely. P.S. I heard somewhere that chocolate cures just about everything, headaches included. There's a bag of Snickers minis in here. Want me to bring you one?
I'm okay, but you can take one if you're hungry.
Hey, I'm the one who's supposed to be doing you favors, not the other way around.
Then, in that case, I actually do have something in mind.
See?
If you're not busy Friday, my church is short a couple of volunteers for an event we're having, and it'd be great if you could come. We're helping at a nursing home and just keeping a few of the people there company. But it's totally okay if you don't want to. I know it's not exactly what most people would want to do on a Friday night, but I promise it'll be fun.
I'll be there. Where and when should I meet you?
6:30 at Trinity Heart Church on Prospect Street. We have a van that'll drive us to the facility from there.
Should I wear something special? Suit? Tie? Tuxedo?
Just something comfortable.
Sounds good.
Thanks for agreeing to come even though I asked it as a favor. Honestly, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. I can come up with something else for you to do instead.
Number 1, I want to, and number 2, for the record, this Friday thing doesn't count for our deal. I still owe you for what happened today. I'll decide when I've paid you back in full.
Suit yourself. I'll see you soon.
The inside of Lacey's locker is a picture of everything mine isn't. Neat, organized, clean. Clean. This girl has a place for everything. There's not a pencil or paper lying around where it doesn't belong. Meanwhile, all my stuff's split between my bedroom floor, the bottom of my locker, or crushed somewhere inside my backpack. I wonder what it's like, being one of the smart kids. Being the type who studies every night or races your way through classes without having to lift a finger. Tanner barely studies and still manages to rock a steady 4.0. He walks into class and soaks up every single word spilling out of his teacher's mouths while I can barely make it through first period awake. From the looks of things, Lacey and Tanner are made from the same straight-A overachieving mold. Her notebooks are worn down and packed with neon post-it notes, classic sign of a brainiac. I smile to myself, pull the pile of her books off her tiny metal shelf and pack it away in her bag as carefully as possible. Normally, I'd just smash my stuff into my van's backpack until the seams burst, but I don't think Lacey'd appreciate my style. If she wants things done nicely, I'll give her nice, or at least my version of nice, which may or may not be up to par. Whatever, I'll do my best. It takes me an excruciatingly long 5 minutes to come close to finishing the job. If I'd known packing her things was gonna turn into a game of Tetris, I would have started with the bigger books and binders first instead of doing things the other way around. Lacey's backpack's way too small for the amount she's asking to take home. I want to send her off with a lighter load, but the girl's got way too many books to not end up crawling in her dad's car on all fours. By the time I finish, there's barely any room left for the church flyers that are still sitting inside her locker. I could force them between her algebra folder and her French dictionary, but they'd probably end up looking like mini accordions by the time she took them out. I grab the stack, take one flyer off the top and put it in my back pocket and decide on carrying the rest to Lacey myself. Will I regret this? Maybe. As far as everybody on Mission Bay knows, the Last King does not carry soft pink handwritten church flyers down the hallway in plain sight. But right now, the first floor is pretty empty, and if I walk fast enough, I can make it back to Nurse Shirley's office in 3.5 minutes, give or take. Plan decided. Time to move. I shut Lacey's locker and speed walk past the science and math rooms right as the bell rings. I turn around and flip off the clock for being 5 minutes slow at the worst time possible. Students come streaming into the hall like ants, and before I have the chance to avoid them, a beefy hand comes crashing down on my shoulder and stops me dead. Just the man I wanted to see. Got a minute, King? We need to talk. I turn around and find myself standing in the shadow of Mission Bay's idiot linebackers, Kevin Walsh and Tyler Davis. Kevin 6'1", built like a wall, and put so much gel in his spiky hair that he looks like a white blonde porcupine. Tyler's equally as massive, has the face of a gargoyle, and walks around with his dark hair slicked flat to his scalp and a comb in his pocket. I don't know who told these two that making your hair flammable was a thing, but they waltz around the halls groping chicks and catcalling like they're working the convict look. If they weren't good at smashing the offensive line on the football team, Kevin and Tyler would be bottom feeders at Mission Bay. They use their size and varsity status to crash their way into parties and desperately attempt to pick up anything without a package between their legs. I've been at enough kickbacks with these two to know that most girls generally avoid them, and the most action they get is from the dirty end of a keg hose. Kevin and Ty used to have it out for me after my dad got Trevor expelled back in the fall. But once I started being the guy everybody wanted at their weekend ragers, they started hitting me up for help getting in. I would have turned them down flat if they weren't exceptionally talented at scoring and supplying weed and booze to said parties. So we struck a deal. I got them into places that they couldn't reach, and they helped me get high, wasted, or both. So far it's been a win-win, but given the look on Kev's face, that might not be the case for too much longer. What's up, Kev? Make it quick, I've got somewhere to be. Kevin shoots Tyler a look, and the two of them smirk at each other like something about what I said was funny. Elias, that's no way to talk to your friends. We've got a proposition for you. The least you could do is hear us out, right? Tyler grips my other shoulder, and the two of them back me into the locker so hard the vibration from the impact rattles through my teeth. I suck in a breath, but don't give either of them the satisfaction of losing my cool. I can't say for sure, but my guess is that these two were involved in the situation with Tanner and Marcus in the locker room. They're quick to fight at parties and are always pushing their weight around so people don't peg them for the losers they are. If they weren't the size of 18-wheelers, I would have steered clear of these two a long time ago. But there's no doubt in my mind that they'd snap me like a twig if I ever tried to cross them. Lawyer dad or not, if it came down to it, they'd burn me before he could file the court papers. Real talk. What do you want? I ask. A spark lights up in Kev's beady blue eyes, and he cuts his gaze over to Tyler before answering me. These idiots spend so much time together, I'm pretty sure they've invented a secret caveman language they can communicate with without using actual words. I'm having a party at my parents' place on Friday. It's beachside, lots of booze, plenty of party favors. I just need your help in the lady department, Kevin says. I let out a whisper of a laugh and lean my head back against the locker so I can look up at him. Can't. I'm busy. Have it another weekend. Tyler tightens his grip on my shoulder to the point where my bones may or may not be cracking under his fingers. There ain't gonna be another weekend, King. Kev's dad just lost a house in a divorce and he's moving into an apartment with him in Bird Rock. Kevin glares at Tyler and then smacks him across the back of the head hard and fast. His hand's covered in oil when he pulls it away. Keep your mouth shut, Ty. I didn't ask you to spill the whole story, dickbag. Just the important details. Tyler takes his hands off me and shoves them deep into the pockets of his burgundy Letterman. I straighten up and smooth out the creases in my t-shirt while Tyler sputters out a muffled "I'm sorry" to his bromantic partner. Listen, lovebirds, I'm in a bit of a hurry, so you either get to the point in the next 30 seconds or I'll walk. Last time I checked, you were the ones who needed me, not the other way around, I say. Kev and Tyler snap themselves out of their lover's tiff and redirect their aggression back in my direction. Mouthing off to them might not be the smartest idea in the world, but they couldn't do anything about it in the middle of the hall with all these eyes around. There's one thing people learned at this school after Trevor. It was this. You don't touch the King brothers unless you want your life to fall apart.
Look, all you have to do is show up Friday, tell people you're gonna be there on Instagram or whatever, and text a couple girls to come along. That's all. You don't even have to stay the whole night, just long enough for us to get
late. I cock an eyebrow. Kev's whole face turns hot plate red underneath his already red, angry pimples.
Yeah, pretty much.
I reach out and give him a couple pity slaps on the shoulder like I genuinely mean it. It's no secret that Kev and Tyler haven't managed to convince a girl to do anything with them beyond swap and spit and getting handsy. Maybe if they didn't walk around Mission Bay acting like the female population owed them something, they'd get a little further on Friday nights. Here's the deal. As much as I feel for your situation, I can't do Friday. End of story. Ask somebody else, I say. Tyler lunges at me without warning and bars his tree trunk of a forearm across my chest. The chatter and bustle in the hallway comes to a dead stop and all the eyes in the room shift over to us.
You know you've gotten real cocky since Trevor left, kid. Somebody ought to put you in place,
Tyler says. And somebody this side of the country should want to sleep with you, but we can't always get what we wish for, can we, Ty? His fist rockets toward my face, but Kev reaches out and stops him at the last second.
Relax, Tyler. We don't have to beg. King's coming Friday whether he wants to or not,
Kevin says in his cocksure confidence both surprises and amuses me. I'll tilt my hilt to the side and eye him, waiting for the punchline. Is that so? What's your plan, Kev? Are you gonna drug me or drag me into a locker room and kick my face in until I do what you want? Kevin grits his teeth and his jaw ticks a couple times before he manages to mold his mouth into a smile.
You know, I've got a cousin who says that he knows you pretty well. He used to go to Pacific Beach Middle. His name's Brad. Ring any bells?
My heart slows and then stops beating altogether. It happens in an instant. Not long enough to cause any real damage, but I feel the walls cave inside my chest and my lungs lock up. I haven't heard that name or seen that face in spring formal. That dance was the cherry on top of the disaster of a year Brad turned 8th grade into. He terrorized me in the halls, in class, in the bathroom, anywhere he could. He named me Chubby Chorizo. He made me hate my accent, my culture, myself. He ruined me in front of Stacy Brenner in a way that I still have nightmares about. And right when I think I've built high enough walls to keep people from peeking back into my past, Kevin shows up and threatens to tear them down all over again. I swallow the bile rising in my throat and scramble to keep from cracking while Ty and Kevin are watching. Yeah, I know him. Next time you see him, give him the finger for me. Kevin ghost laughs right in my face, and the stink of his Red Bull / breakfast burrito breath nearly knocks me out cold.
Funny you should say that. We hung out the other weekend and he showed me and Ty this video.
No.
Spring formal, I believe.
No.
You were so fat back then I almost didn't recognize you, but hey, Chorizos don't like King. You had a pretty impressive situation downstairs for an 8th grader. I guess what the girls on Mission Bay say about you these days is true. I wonder if they'd still like you if they saw how pathetic you used to be.
I break into a cold sweat and my whole body goes numb. I didn't know anyone filmed that. People talked. That was bad enough. Brad and Stacy made a point to keep the conversation going, and I came this close to dropping out for the rest of the semester. But I couldn't bring myself to do it. To talk. I never told Mom about it. I never told Tanner. I never told anyone because I never wanted to relive that night again. But if I don't do something about Kev, I'll go right back to being who I used to be. A joke, A loser, a nobody. The real me. How do I know you're not just busting my balls right now? I ask, but I don't want to hear the answer.
Well, you've got two choices, King. You can either take my word for it and do what I say, or you can not show up on Friday and see what pops up in the gawker Monday morning. You decide.
Kevin twists his mouth into a barbed wire smile and nods for Tyler to let go of me. Ty backs off, and even though I should be able to breathe again, the air feels too thick and too heavy to make it into my lungs. When do you need me to tell you by? I stare down at the flyers in my hands instead of looking at Kev or Tyler. The sides of the pages are crushed, partially torn, and wrinkled in my hands. I didn't even notice I ruined them. Now it's too late to fix it. Kevin slaps the bottom of my chin so I look him in the eye.
I'll text you later for an answer. Don't worry, I'll give you time to finish handing out your girly church flyers and walk around the halls winning souls like the saint that you are.
Ty rips the flyers out of my hand and tosses them into the air like confetti. Kevin bursts out in a low guttural laugh while shame burns its way through every vein in my body.
See you Friday, King. I really hope you can make it.
And just like that, Kevin and Tyler disappear into the crowd and leave me standing against the lockers, drowning in a feeling I thought I buried back at Pacific Beach. After Stacy, I swore to myself that I'd never let anyone humiliate me like that again. It took nearly 365 days for me to live out that promise. It took less than 30 seconds for someone else to break it. By the time I get back to Shirley's office, Lacey isn't alone. There's an older man standing at her bedside holding on to her hands like he's cradling a broken bird in his fingers. He's tall, at least 6'2", with the broad shoulders and stature of an athlete. Even behind his wire-framed glasses, his bright blue eyes and sharp features stand out from across the room. I know this type. The kind of personality who commands respect without even having to say a word. My dad has a similar effect on a room. He walks in and sucks the air out until there's none left to breathe. Since I left, the atmosphere in Shirley's office had totally shifted. It's not threatening, but tense. So much so that I decide against taking a step past the threshold. Instead, I study the situation from a distance, watching the way Lacey keeps her eyes trained on the person pacing back and forth in front of her. He clears his throat loudly and runs a hand through his close-trimmed curly gray blonde hair before stopping to face her.
Sweetheart, I'm not trying to make things more stressful for you. I just want to know what happened.
Lacey's shoulders rise and fall as she lets out the kind of sigh that only parents are capable of bringing out of their kids.
I already told you. I fell, okay?
That's not what Shirley said over the phone. A head injury's serious, Lacey. You've got a big week ahead and we've got the volunteering event on Friday. I'm just worried that...
I'll be fine for Friday. It was an accident. No one hurt me. No one pushed me, so... Can we please just drop it and go home?
Her voice sounds so different. Small, tired, desperate. Night and day different from the way she was when she spoke to me earlier. There's a sadness in the way she sounds, the kind I immediately recognize because it lives and breathes under my skin. It's always there, playing softly in the background of my everydays, just under the surface of everything. But I'm used to the noise, to the disturbance. I just didn't expect to hear it in her.
You know I can't do that, Lace. Not after everything we've been dealing with. You know you're still not...
I'm fine, Dad. So stop. Please? I don't want to talk about this anymore. I just want to get my things and leave.
Not before I speak to your science teacher. I don't know what kind of classroom he's running, but he has to be more mindful of his students. What if this had been worse? What if you'd been seriously hurt?
Lacey shoots up off her bed and slams her feet against the floor so hard her sneakers screech across the linoleum.
But I wasn't. Do we have to go to the hospital again for me to prove it? My lab partner and I were just joking around. I slipped, he tried to catch me, and then I hit my head. He's been a total gentleman and even stepped out of his classes to take care of me, so...
Who's your lab partner?
My stomach drops, and I shy away from the door so Lacey's dad can't see me. Heat creeps its way up my neck and spreads across the rest of my face like a brush fire. I should go in there and say something. I should step up and take responsibility so Lacey doesn't have to. But I can't hold my ground in front of her father. I don't know what he'd think of me. I don't want to know what he'd think of me. But given the wild frustration and disappointment scrawled all over his face, I can already guess. I've only been standing here 5 minutes, but it's no secret how much Lacey means to him. He loves her in the way he worries, in the way he's trying to come to bat for her even when she doesn't want him to. He's doing everything a real father's supposed to. But I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I've never had to face up to a real father.
Does it matter, Dad?
It certainly does. I want you to be around the right kind of people this time, Lacey.
What's that supposed to mean?
Not people like me.
You know what I mean. Better choices. If you're working with someone who jokes around during lessons, doesn't take their studies seriously, and ends up getting you hurt no less than...
Dad, that's not how he is.
Then I'll speak to your teacher about finding you someone else to work with. A girl this time. I was a freshman boy here once, Lacey. I know where that kind of behavior leads.
To Mom and me, right?
All the color fades out of her father's face as Lacey's words spill out into the air. She's so small standing there in front of him, the total opposite of everything he is. Dark and wild-haired, defiant, daring. Her t-shirt's crumpled, untucked, a beautiful mess compared to her father's clean-cut, compulsively put-together image. I catch sight of the MBH baseball team logo threaded into the left side of his burgundy polo. Not even the varsity jocks on honor roll could score one of those. Lacey wasn't lying. This guy's an important alum, one whose face and presence barely resembles his daughter's. I don't know what it is about what she said, but Lacey's dad's left speechless as he stares up at him, waiting for an answer. He runs his hands down the length of his face like he's dragging defeat across his skin. He's tired the same way my mom looks tired. Exhausted from fighting, losing, not communicating, not connecting. How'd you say knowing that the disconnect between him and Lacey is basically because of me? Lacey's dad walks over and leans on the metal frame of the bed to steady himself.
Honey, that's not what I meant. You know that, right?
Lacey ignores him, grabs her phone off her bedside table and starts heading closer to the door. Closer to me.
Whatever. I'll see you in the car, Dad.
I leave Lacey's bags right outside the door and disappear before she sees me. After everything her dad said, it's probably better if she didn't. He isn't wrong to be worried. He definitely isn't wrong to be worried about me. The best I can do for the both of them is keep my distance. So I do. I speed off in the opposite direction of Shirley's office, scrambling to put as much hallway between me and Lacey as possible when my phone sounds off.
New text message from Lacey at 12:10 p.m. Thanks for bringing my stuff. Where were you? Class? Wow, okay, ignore the last question. If you're in class, you can't text back. Last text, I promise. My dad's running the event on Friday and just wanted to make sure he could confirm you. You're still coming, right? Let me know. New text message from Kev at 12:13 p.m.
Decision time, King. The cheerleading team's already asking if you'll be there Friday. You in or out?